Pour a cup and connect with us today as we talk with Nazo Zakkak about bringing God into our work. This is Mugs and Mercy. Cheers!
Okay.
Welcome back to Mugs and Mercy. You probably noticed or heard if you're listening, we have a special guest with us today, Nazo Zakkak. Yay!
Hi, Nazo.
Thank you for having me. A long-time listener, first time, I don't know.
Guest.
Interview. Yeah, that's right. So Nazo, if you don't know, is an Orthodox composer, and we're going to talk a lot with him about his life and work and all of that. He also happens to have a crush on someone in this room.
It ain't us.
He's my husband. So Nazo is going to talk to us today about the various jobs he's had and roles within church work and other work and all kinds of things, and how we can bring God into our traditional work kind of jobs and also just the work we do day to day in the family. And we're excited to talk to you.
Yay.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome. This is how you have to talk when you're here. I'm so excited to jump in and ask you some questions and tell us no lies.
But first,
Katie, what's in your mug?
This is my Peter Pan mug, and I did percolated coffee decaf with my caramel macchiato creamer that I love.
It smells so
Thank
good.
you so much. Nazo, what's in your mug?
I also have percolated decaf. This is like my 5th cup today, so decaf.
Very
now.
glad.
Well, and tell us about this mug. Just one sentence, but it's kind of a cool mug.
Only one sentence?
Yes.
This is my 3rd favorite mug.
Mm-hmm. And what it so literal.
Okay, tell us what it does when you
It's actually this is Gotham City. So when you pour hot liquid in there, the lights come on and the bat signal comes on, and they call Batman.
Oh, wow.
And it's really cool.
It's very exciting.
See, as long as it's a run-on sentence, you're good.
Ask someone else what's in their mug.
What's in your mug, Emily?
Actually, and I should let Christine tell us because she made this drink today. It's a tea that's kind of like a chai, and it's in my mom's mug that's white with blue leaves. Christine, do you want to tell them what's in my mug?
Why, sure. In our mugs is, I've had mud water in the past. This is a different mud water blend. It's called Rest. And so, I was like, it's been an anxious day. And so this has it's like a chai, but herbal with some mushrooms and some like chamomile and other restful things in it.
Very relaxing. So,
and I'm reusing my Happy Fall Y'all mug because it's fall and we're embracing it. So
don't get too rested with your relaxing tea because we have a lot of great tea to spill today.
I see what you did there.
Okay. So Nazo, can you tell us a little bit about your background and the various roles you've had both in ministry and outside of ministry and with our crazy children and
basically your whole life story?
Yes, we're excited to hear.
Let's skip the crazy kids part because we want this to be a happy time right now.
We love our children, audience, listeners.
We do.
We're having
and
a
they're
adult
crazy.
time, which is nice.
Awesome, but crazy.
Okay.
So, I started off as a jazz musician. My parents are both engineers, so they were thrilled that their oldest child wanted to be a jazz musician. They had a little hope at one point because have you all seen the movie October Sky?
Yes.
Long
No.
time ago.
It's about like rocketry and I really got into it after that movie for a bit. I actually bought some books and started studying rocket science, and I read about Wernher von Braun and really got into it. So my parents had hope that like, hey, he might turn out to be smart. And then I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to school for jazz. So I graduated with my degree so I got my degree in jazz, my undergrad, and then I didn't know what to do with that. So I went to grad school for more jazz.
As one does.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what do you do with a degree in jazz?
You just add to it.
Exactly. But it was a very good program in UC Irvine. So go Anteaters.
California.
And then something happened where I was good, kinda. And then I got in a car accident, got an ear injury and hand injury, and everything kind of went sideways. And I had this moment where I was talking to God and I said, I know you're planning something else for me, but please hurry it up. Like I'm ready. My heart's open. I'm ready. Just tell me.
Did it derail your whole what you thought was happening?
Yeah. There was a certain trajectory and there was clearly success on the horizon. I got really upset. I kind of destroyed all my previous work, all my jazz stuff.
Like stuff that you had written?
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted a clean slate. I feel, I don't know, it was the right choice to make. I didn't want to depend on the past too much.
Do you ever regret that, burning your work?
Not at all.
No? Oh, that's good. That's good. As long as it seems like it was symbolic.
Yeah, it felt, I mean, it was making sure that I'm not going to rely on old habits and that I knew something new was on the horizon. And then so I started talking to someone at church who was directing the choir, and I found out he had a music publishing company, and I needed a job because my parents told me you need a job. You can't just live in our home and play jazz all day. So
sad jazz.
This was well before the wife came in the picture.
things got a lot better after you came into the picture. And so I started working at Musica Rusica, a Russian choral music publication company.
Oh, wow.
And I started learning about Russian Orthodox music. I only knew about Byzantine at the time, so I didn't know that Russian Orthodox music existed, and it blew my mind because it's epic, it's beautiful. And my boss there, he asked me to write a doxology, which is, glory to God in the highest, right? Is it that? Is it glory to you who has shown us the light? My bad. Glory to you who has shown us the light. Glory to God in the highest, right?
Yeah. One of my favorite, in any church, it's like one of my favorite songs of the whole service.
Yeah. It's the one that, the funny thing is it's technically the end of Matins.
Right.
But we always if we're going to do just a liturgy, we always start with the doxology. It's because it's kind of like a joyful, jump start to the service.
Yeah, I love it.
And so I wrote that, and then it got recorded and at St. Vladimir Seminary, and they gave me a royalty check, which I've never gotten in my jazz days.
That is exciting.
I was playing for dinners then, I played with my heroes, and they were all and they were playing for dinners too. I'm I don't want this kind of life,
Yeah.
I want a family, and so I started, just researching more, and then it just kind of took off. There's a need for simple but beautiful Orthodox music in English, and things just kind of took off after that.
Wow.
And if you're in the Orthodox world, you've probably heard his name. If not, look him up. It's unimaginably beautiful. So you do good work, and we love it.
And we'll link all of his channels and
down below,
all that stuff.
And
in the description.
And now I don't know if you were done, but now he's the choir director at our church that we recently all moved to. So
and the church admin. Yeah. So big job.
Oh yes. I need to get back to you on some emails.
You don't have to. It's okay. It's okay.
So what was your initial role at that Russian music publisher before you wrote something?
I answered the phones.
Okay.
I filled orders, and then I also got to typeset the music. Typesetting is when you take the old scores and then you put it in a program to make it look all pretty and modern and clean, and then it's set for publication. So I got to learn some industry standards, and that really helped with how I typeset my music now. And I also used to be real happy whenever the copier would misprint, and we would lose a whole piece of sheet music because it was just, and that would be I'm gonna grab this and take it home and study it, and so yeah, I studied a lot of scores after hours and got to learn the Russian tradition.
Wow,
very cool.
I have a question. When you were growing up, were you very musically inclined, and what did you think of the Orthodox music?
Well, I was. Music is the only thing I really know how to do well. I used to despise Orthodox music.
Really?
That's kind of the
That's
funny
why I was
thing.
wondering, because he's cradle Orthodox, right?
Yeah.
Which means he's
Yes.
born into the church and is still part of the church.
My choir director at St. Anthony's out in San Diego, her name is Valerie Yova. She's in Santa Barbara right now. But I remember her asking me, she's like, you're into music. I hear you play jazz. Like, why don't you try writing something for us or get involved? And I'm like, I'm not going to do something dumb like church music. I write real music. I do art.
That's funny.
And she reminds me of that every now and then, too.
That reminds me of that like saying that's like, I make plans and God laughs.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's like oversaid, but it's like actually really true because we're like, I know it's best for me. And then it's like, oh, what actually happened is best, but it's not at all what I would have pictured.
Do you feel like when you were in the jazz world, did you feel like you were able to bring God into that work? Was it hard? Did you even think about that because you were in like a different place in life at that time?
I was always flirting with that. Every now and then I would write something that was a Byzantine melody and I would kind of bring it in. I was told by a lot of pianists that I don't really have the blues touch. I have this weird like Middle Eastern touch.
Interesting.
And so
Foreshadowing.
well, yeah, I mean, and then after this injury and stuff, I kind of stopped the complex music. I got into some really weird out there stuff. And I started studying counterpoint, which is like Renaissance vocal music, the most basic stuff. And I don't know why. I didn't know I was going to go into choral music or church music, but I just started studying it. And my professors at grad school were a little worried that their star avant-garde student is suddenly studying, basic counterpoint, which you learn in like the first year of music school,
Yeah.
But I just wanted something simple and beautiful after all that complexity and chaos.
Do you feel now like a difference when you're writing just like any everyday old song versus like when it all comes together versus a song for the Orthodox Church? Is there a different feel when it's like complete?
I would have answered yes, but up until the last week, I've actually been thinking about this. No, I think I'm able to say like it's all kind of for God. I've written this tune recently, and Katie kind of commented. She's like, just a little piano piece,
really
and she
beautiful.
goes like, "Where did this come from? Like, I'm actually in tears. Like,
It
where did
sounded
this?"
like it was like a movie soundtrack, but like the kind that like where you're just like tearing up as it, and he's just like playing it. I'm like, wait, did you write this, or are you playing something? Because it just like, and that often happens with him, where it's because he's a very good composer, so it sounds like it could be in a
It
movie or
moves
whatever.
you to tears without even realizing like what exactly it is.
But I think what church music taught me is that it's about the craft. It's not about, like in music and in art, it's a lot of self-expression, right? You're like, this is how I feel, and this is the message I'm trying to get across. And in church music, it's like, what you think doesn't really matter. These are the church texts, right? These words are powerful and holy and already set. You don't need to do anything to them. Just make it clear. Right, and that's what I try to do in my music. I have to take myself out a lot of the time. So that's what's happening with like some of my other music I'm starting to pick up on now.
Yeah. Well, I know you said with hymns, you memorize the whole hymn first before you write anything.
The text.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Not the hymn. Yeah. So the text before you're writing music to it.
Yeah. I because for something to sound organic in English, you need to think about how you say it. So there's a great phrase in y'all read The Way of the Pilgrim, right? It's a book. It's a Russian memoir about the Jesus Prayer. This
I
pilgrim.
know of it. I don't know if I've like read it.
It's fantastic. But near the end, he's talking. It's about this pilgrim that basically he suffered this terrible tragedy, and he's traveling throughout Russia, learning what it means to pray unceasingly, and just going from teacher to teacher and just saying the Jesus Prayer all day. And at one point, a teacher tells him, listen to where you put the emphasis on the words. So if you say, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. If you put the emphasis on Lord, then your heart is geared towards the divinity of Christ. If your emphasis is on Jesus Christ, Son of God, then you have the personal, your focus is on the personal connection with Christ. If your focus is on Son of God, then your focus, then your heart is able to comprehend the nature of God and the Trinity, right, and the personhood of it. If your focus is on have mercy on me, then you have the gift of penitence and repentance, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if you say, Holy God, Holy Mighty, Holy Immortal, you're putting God, which is God the Father, Mighty, God the Son, Immortal, God the Holy Spirit, right? But if you accent it, Holy God, Holy Mighty, Holy Immortal, your focus is on something else. So that's where I would say the hymn over and over and say, where's my focus? Does it align with what the hymn means, right? And then how would it sound natural in English? And is my focus appropriate enough to try to incorporate into the hymn? That's how I make it personal.
I've always that's so cool how that's so neat how there's so much to it, and that's so true. Just like anything, how what you emphasize. I've always wondered, is there certain rules you have to keep for each song to, even in any? I mean, I know we don't have like all this, but like I know you're probably like you could go on about it, but like for instance, like the Great Doxology, is there something that you have to keep similar as music wise in each version, or can you like literally make it however you want?
It depends on who I'm writing for and what they want. So I mean, yes,
what the tradition is of that church.
And what the tradition is, yeah.
Okay,
so for the doxology, in some traditions you sing it in a tone. Actually, I mean, you should, and it depends on the changing tone of the week, right? Other people, there's a great Znameny chant, which is a Russian chant. They just have a melody for the doxology, right? And I forget what tone it is, but it's very popular, right? And that's one that I hear everyone sing. When I wrote a recent Memory Eternal, and it was based on an old black spiritual. And,
oh my goodness, I love it already.
but the thing is, I knew that some churches sing Memory Eternal, may their memory be eternal, right? Other churches sing Memory Eternal 3 times first, and then they say, may their memory be eternal. And just writing it 2 times versus writing it 3 times, I needed to make a little shift in the music, because if we did it 3 times, it would actually sound kind of grating and boring with this melody. So I needed a shift in there. Yeah. So there's a lot of consideration that goes into it. It just depends on the tradition.
That makes sense. That makes sense. One more question: have you heard of the Alaskan, like Native American music?
Little bit. Oh, you mean the native, not
like,
Orthodox?
No, like Native American Alaska music. I lived in Alaska for a little bit, and they incorporated a lot of Native American music. So beautiful. Native Alaskan. So gorgeous. It reminds me of some of your music. Not the style, but like how it emotionally moves you. It's like there's like an epicness to it. It just makes it like brings it home to your heart,
Well, I do like to throw a few Easter eggs in the music every now and then. And so I wrote a troparion for St. Herman of Alaska. And it was, at first it was heavily based on some Native Alaskan music.
Yeah.
But I needed to tone it down because the rhythm was a bit too forward.
Yeah.
So many times I feel like that Chris Farley skit from back in the day where I was just going to be like, hey, you heard of so-and-so? Cool. Just I want to ask Nazo, like, hey, have you ever heard this musician? Cool. Huh?
Have you ever heard of baby metal?
I love baby metal. Yes.
I just feel
I have mixed feelings, but I love them for the most part.
I just feel like validated if like I can connect.
We could make this a couple hours to asking you about music questions.
That's one of the best skits ever.
Yeah. Cool.
He's awesome.
So Nazo, it seems like, our topic, besides picking your brain, is bringing God into work, the work that we do in our lives, in ourselves, perhaps. But so like for you being an Orthodox music composer, that seems like pretty easy to comprehend, like I'm writing music for the church, I better involve God, And I guess this is a question for you and for all of us, but sometimes if you were an engineer or a drama teacher or an administrative assistant, like how do we bring God into those things that are not blatantly Christian, part of the church work, What are your thoughts on that?
Well, a very big work in the Orthodox Church is The Ladder of Divine Ascent, right, by St. John Climacus, or some people say Climacus. I say Climacus.
I
but
thought it was
it
Climacus.
becomes a point of contention.
I've been saying it wrong the whole time.
Or St. John of the Ladder. So there.
Yes.
But
There we go.
he...
Not the former.
And he...
Orthodox humor.
Or the current. No, okay. Yeah, sorry, never
No,
mind.
so it's a big treatise.
Sorry.
It's 33 steps written primarily for ascetics on what you need to do to attain holiness. But in the very beginning, he says, if you're in the world, basically if you're a lay person, and he gives a very, very seemingly easy set of standards, right? Be a good person, go to church, do the sacraments, and, you know, essentially try to live a good life and keep God in mind. Like, keep it simple, right? And he says, like, this book is not for you, you know? He also says it's a grave sin. I love that. It's a grave sin to think, not sin, error. It's a grave error to think that the saints achieved their holiness without great toil and suffering, right? So, because there's that tendency to think, I should just be able to do it, right? So to some extent, and this is verified, this idea is verified by another account in the life of St. Anthony the Great, which is written by St. Athanasius. It's kind of cool. But he has this vision, I think...
One of our children is named after.
Yes, one of our children. He goes by Tonton. And whenever he sees the icon of St. Anthony, he goes, it's St. Tonton. And so but he had a vision, I believe, near the end of his life where an angel showed him his equal in the city, right? And St. Anthony was like quite renowned right now and had done a lot of work on himself and achieved some pretty significant disciplines. And he saw his equal out in the world, and it was a doctor who just charged a fair price, was nice to his patients, did his work, and sang church hymns throughout the day. Just had a good spirit.
Wow, I've never heard that story.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Why haven't we heard that before? I'm almost getting emotional. I mean, I am emotional.
I know, that's beautiful.
As moms, oh my gosh, you're like, wow, I'm really failing flat on my face here spiritually, because it's just the struggle is so hard. And you think, wow, if I could be at a monastery all day and like pray, then I could really like make some progress, you know, spiritually. And I don't have that luxury, you know.
It's funny how
so
that type
true.
of hard life suddenly seems like a luxury. now.
Right. Be like, just focus on my
Well, and
inner
it's,
demons.
and it's an error, like you said, to think like the saints make it look easy because like they make it look so easy. You know, like every Saint Mary of Egypt Sunday, I'm like, I could never do that. You know, she makes it look so easy. But yeah, right. It was not easy for her. You know, it was a feat. It was difficult.
It's part of the whole point.
And that's
living in
beautiful,
the desert, literally living in the desert.
with nothing.
Not
you know,
But I remember,
nobody.
I'm sorry. I remember, I think our priest at the time, like talking about St. Mary of Egypt, said that she was extreme before her conversion. So she required like this extreme action after. Like that was her personality. That's not my personality. I'm not like, let's go to the desert and, you know, like I'm all in, you know. Like the saints, there's so many different stories of saints' lives that are very different, you know. And just like, well, if St. Anthony is a saint and then that man who was his equal is also a saint, right? But we don't know his name because he's just living in the city, hidden in plain sight. And that's just really encouraging to me.
No, the angel revealed to St. Anthony that when he was singing throughout the day, he was actually singing with the angels, right?
Wow.
Like just honest singing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, like, because you talked about, like, you know, there's definitely struggles in parenthood, and the
Which is our
day-to-day.
work right now.
Right. But that's what, like, for our lives, God has called us to and blessed us with these children and called us to marriage and children and family.
I have a thought on that. We all have a common friend, Yumi, out at St. Barnabas. She told me, I thought this was incredibly profound. She goes, why don't I say a prayer before I do the dishes? Which, by the way, has never been a point of contention for us, ever. We're like perfect
Dishes?
in that regard, yeah.
Everybody
We've
loves
never-
doing
Yeah.
dishes.
Right?
Dishes
So-
is our middle name.
But she's like, you know, if I'm you know, prepping some vegetables for dinner
Yeah.
or something mundane or something I despise doing, why don't I like, why don't I bring God into it and just say a prayer? All right, let this be for your glory. These,
Yeah.
and then I look at these stupid dishes.
Yes.
You know, but like, why not?
But that could be if you're a waiter, you know, like let me say prayer as I help these people get their food.
Yeah.
Or if you're a bus driver, each kid that comes on, you can say, Lord bless this child. And I actually asked my husband Gary, who's good friends with Nazo, and all of us, but
Friends.
yeah, they're frenemies. No, that sounds so not like masculine. Like we're frenemies. Anyways, I asked him because he's a telemarketer. He makes outbound calls all day and does sales. And I said, Gary, how do you feel like you bring God into it? And he's like, it's because it's known as one of the hardest, not the most rewarding jobs. You know, it's like a lot of effort for a little payoff. And he said, first of all, it's hard to not compromise your values. So you have to like pick a job that you actually believe in, whatever you're selling. You know, that's one way to bring God into it. And you just got to keep that prayer in the back of your mind. You know, even if you just talk to one person, a customer for a split second, you know, thinking of them as another whole person with a whole soul and not just a number, you know, and just like, just literally everything you do, trying to bring God into it, whether it's, you know, you're being a telemarketer, a teacher, a bus driver, waiter, doctor, you know.
I'm thinking of a funny story where I was working in an office at self-storage facility. And
Shout out to self-storage community.
there is one.
There is one.
Yes.
And our family's part of it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So like I was just like an office manager, whatever, and would take calls. And I got called by this, I found out it was like a prank call from a radio show. And it wasn't one I ever heard of or whatever. But like they're just posing as a stupid and they were trying to like prod me into like getting angry or whatever. And I was just too patient and understanding for them. Because they're like,
I did not hear this story.
I heard this story. No, they called and they're like, hey, I'm looking for a space. You got any of those? I don't remember what they said, but they're like, oh, a 4x7. That's, you know, and they were doing the wrong math. And I'm like, no, it's this. And they're like, no, I'm looking here at my calculator and it's this. And I'm like, no, it's not. And they kept like pushing it. And I'm like, well, we can agree to disagree, you know? And then like, it just kind of went on. They were saying stupid stuff. And I'm like, okay. And then they were like, oh, one last question. How do you feel about prank calls? And I'm like, not a big fan, you know? And I don't know if that was just Christian patience at the time. Yeah, I know. Like, I got nothing out of that exchange, except for a funny story, I guess. But
I don't know.
But I think it tells you, like, if you just keep peace, how far you can go.
True.
Which, you know, I was a stay-at-home and work-from-home dad for a bit too, so I understand that, like, it's. I mean,
it was for a long bit. You don't have to.
It was a long bit.
It was 4 years.
So
I was working full time as a drama teacher, and he was home working on composing and everything, and then also with our young children.
One of whom from home too.
Yes, yeah. One of whom is autistic, and so just everything navigating his. That was you were the stay-at-home parent when work from home, but you know, like when he was getting his diagnosis and all the assessments, and I went when I could, but you often were the one doing it.
Yeah, I didn't know the routine of like taking kids to the doctor and taking them to school every day would be so horrendous. Like, I mean, I thought like, all right, they're going to be in school. I'll have some time during the day. And then it was like an ordeal.
Do you feel like you have a heart now for stay-at-home parents?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. But
Gary
I think,
too, because Gary was home for a year and now understands it's not like just lounging all day and stuff.
Oh, no.
fresh baked apple pies.
I feel like he and I, whereas like most couples can't fully have the perspective of the other person, like we both have experienced both now, so I think that does help us at least understand when the other person's having a hard day or whatever it might be, exhausted.
But I think, you know, one way to bring God into something is not necessarily through some big action or a big prayer. I think it's just through a little prayer. Just like, you know, if I have to do emails or if I have to, you know, change one of our children and it's particularly not going to be a pleasant experience. I mean, but why not? Just like, all right, Lord have mercy, you know? Like, try to be present and try to, you know, just be happy and be at peace. That's my biggest
That's a good
thing is-
reminder.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder because I used to work with kids at a school and I would try to incorporate them in my prayers and just in general, or if one of them was having a hard time, or, you know, trying to be a Christian light amongst a public school system. But now that I'm a stay-at-home mom, I feel like I pray less in some ways. And so, like, when you're saying, like, even changing a diaper can be like, okay, Lord of mercy, this is my cross to bear right now. But, like, and everything you can pray about, because even though you're not clocking in, you're literally always on call when you're a parent. It's still obviously it's the most important job, you know, raising kids.
Something I was thinking to add to that is like just a general spirit of gratitude, which I know is very hard when we're exhausted and all of that, but like thinking of something like the dishes example. And it's like we have dirty dishes because we have food that we put on those dishes, right? That we were able to make. And like when we're changing a blowout, our child is healthy enough that they're not having a problem with that. So, you know,
Every day.
thank God.
And years ago, we all were praying for that. We wanted children. All of us wanted children. Eventually, it's like, and we knew what we were getting into, and now we have it, and it's easy to forget, like, how amazing it is.
A part of it is what we put our focus on, right? So, like, during potty training, which is the worst. It's just the worst.
Especially with an autistic child.
Yeah, but like there was a time I found myself like building up these patterns of like I'm starting to go into depression because like I'm working this up. My focus is on how terrible this potty training is going every day, morning until night. And then I heard a little talk by Father Josiah Trenham where he says like, look, if you're potty training your child and it's not going well, focus on like how Christ comes and cleans the filth of us. You know, what is your sin that is far worse than what you're cleaning right now? And that was a huge shift. And you have to like make the effort to do it. It doesn't just come by thinking I should do this. You have to like stop and actually do it. And that was quite a moment, you know, but like who would be happy thinking of potties all day long? Like no one would be.
Yeah.
Right. So why are you thinking I should be happy while I'm doing this, you know?
Yeah.
How many times did Jesus go like, you don't understand what I'm saying, you know, like to his own disciples, and like, how long are you going to be, you know, stubborn in your ignorance?
Well, that's sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's like kind of what I mean by like a job versus being a parent. Like I forget like washing the feet of the dirty poor or whatever also counts as your children count as that, like not that they're poor, but like, you know, like I was washing my son paint off my son today, you know, begrudgingly or whatever the word is, and then it literally flashed in my head like Jesus washing like dirty feet, and I thought of that, and I'm like, man, I'm so not there, you know. It's just like a reminder. I'm just like, oh,
It doesn't help when
I
they
should
go
probably-
like, you missed a spot.
yeah,
Like, you know.
yeah, or I don't want to do, like, I want to keep it on, or anything. Kids are kids, and having a 4-year-old boy that likes to experiment things, paint all over, it literally, we can be Christ-like even in those moments, and that's a good reminder for me.
I'm thinking of another anecdote that I heard or whatever. I forget who told the story. I'm sorry. But they said, like, when you love someone, you know, this love that we're supposed to have as Christians, it's not always like, oh, you know, like when you're in love and you're Twitter-pated and you want to do nice things for someone. It's like when you have to change the baby's diaper in the middle of the night. You don't enjoy it, but you do it because you love them. You know, like you're not just going to neglect them and whatever. Like you don't have to enjoy it for it to be an act of love, caring for them, you know, and we can guard ourselves from getting bitter and stuff, hopefully. Something I can work on.
I don't know what you're laughing at.
But I think what you guys said,
We've never experienced that before.
me neither. That's
Well,
why
I think the first step is to like just do it, and then the next step, which is important, but it's easy to forget about it, is like to try to have a good attitude, to try to not make people around you think that you're angry as you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
One is sometimes I feel like we like expect our children to do that more and better than we even do. Like we're like, you need to be grateful. And we're like, we need to be grateful.
I think I've definitely yelled at one of my children, I birthed you. But I think what you guys were saying about how Jesus washed their feet, and that helps me frame it as like, not just like, oh, I should be happy that I'm doing these things for God, you know, but just kind of not so much just happy to do it, but just connecting with Christ through our service and to others, or through whatever work we're doing.
There was another monk. I think this was in the sayings of the Desert Fathers, who was told by his elder, it doesn't matter what your task is, but what matters is the spirit in which you do it, right? And I wonder, like for me, what I'm experimenting with now is actually moving slow, like just physically moving.
I need to work
slow.
on that too.
And it helps.
Yeah.
For me, it helps me be more present. But like doing something with minimal effort. This sounds kind of not like lazy, but like if I were to pick up this mug, you know, like if without thinking you would just grab it and hold it. But it's like, well, how much weight do I really need to put on it? How does it feel to do this? And then something just happens where you're like, start paying attention to your body. How am I sitting? How am I? And it just, you know, moving slow is a way for me at least to get present. It's been fairly successful, but I think as with anything when you're a parent, you're always trying things like
Yeah, I feel like
let's hope this
everything
works.
you have to, like getting your kids into the car and you're like, I'm always like, we're running late, go, go, go. And, you know, then my son's like, but look at this leaf. And I'm like, no, put it down, go, go, go.
Get your
And
shoes
it's
on.
like,
No.
That's on me that I didn't leave with enough time to let him be a child and, you know, and to move slow, and not everything has to be like this. I'm always like, and I rush everybody around me sometimes. So that's really good. And that is in its own way, its own like connecting to yourself and connecting to God instead of just.
well, and there's no coincidence. We don't believe there's any coincidence as Christians, right? So like if you're running late, okay, this is something I need to go through now. God has given me this. And who knows what the fruit of it will be. But if we like are not in tune to it, and I mean, I'm not saying like I'm an expert in this by any means, but that's what I'm trying to focus on now, is there's no such thing as a coincidence.
It's true.
You
God
have to embrace
allows
the
things.
challenge that we have in front of us.
Yeah, everything shows us what we need to work on, which is good.
And just continuing through the work obediently. You know, like this is what God gave us. This is our cross, which is our salvation. So
Even if it like
Yay, salvation.
Yay.
Well, a cross is an instrument of torture, right?
Right.
When we say carry it as if it's like just an expression of like just carry your burden,
cape.
right, yeah.
but no, a cross is unto death. Right? Like we're carrying it so that our old self is actually going to be crucified with Christ.
Well, and just as like in marriage, in an Orthodox wedding, you put on crowns and it represents like the kingdom that you're creating, but it also represents martyrdom. They're crowns of martyrdom.
Like you're dying to yourself.
Yeah, you're dying to yourself
Yeah.
and then having this new life with your spouse. And there's definitely some martyrdom in marriage.
It goes way beyond like I'll watch what she wants to tonight. You know, it goes way beyond that. It's an actual martyrdom with death. You know,
Can I say my joke? I'm pretty proud of this Orthodox joke that I made up, because marriage is hard and it's a martyrdom. And I was like, if marriage is a martyrdom, then having kids is like those martyrs who you try to kill 3 times and they won't die until you finally chop off their head like the 3rd time, you know. That's married with children. Martyrdom.
Stand-up comic Christine over
I
here.
know.
Orthodox
stand-up
comedy.
comedy.
My delivery needs a little work, but I think you all know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
We love our children.
No, yes. Well, because it's
No, but it's
also
just like a
ourselves-
spouse or anything, or your work. Yeah.
It's an opportunity that we are blessed to have to work on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was a patient person. Oh, I can handle this prank call easy peasy. Give me 3 kids and I'm losing my ish,
Mind,
you know?
yeah.
Like, where did that patience go? Well, God's revealing to me like I'm not as cool as I
Yes.
thought I was.
I've heard that having kids reveals all your
Oh, yeah.
things that you need to work on, all your inadequacies, and it is so true, because I thought I'm going to be such a good mom, easy, you know.
But God loves us enough to let us not just scooch back. Whoa.
She knocked her coffee for those who are just listening.
My mug.
She scooched it
Have
by.
mercy. God loves us enough to not let us just scooched by being like, wow, I think I've made it.
Humbling.
Well,
It's humbling.
I think too, like as these different things come up, especially with children, we oftentimes will do a good job like lifting the other person up and then reminding each other that it is for our salvation. That these things are, and the way we treat our children is unto our salvation and could be to our detriment if we don't.
Lord of mercy. Yes, you're
I
right.
mean, yeah, it's which is scary to think about.
Yeah.
But,
I saw a quote, and this is kind of off subject, but kind of, it was like some Orthodox theologian was like talking about animals and how animals that were kind to our own pets will be like there on our judgment day, like to defend us or not. And I was like, everything literally can, like my own cats that live outside will be there and say how I treated them, like, but it was a hopeful thing. It wasn't like you'll be judged. It was like, be kind to the animals and they'll stick up for you on judgment day or whatever.
Like that critter that I swerved to not hit with my car.
Yeah, the butterfly that
Point
you
for me.
avoided and freaked me out. She like swerved and I was like, Christine, and she's like, there was a butterfly. Katie and Christine, have you guys had any jobs that were not like you weren't before you were a teacher? Oh yeah, you worked at a movie theater, right?
I did. When I was 16.
And you worked at Starbucks at one point. Did you guys ever struggle with like bringing God into it and being like, this is such a mundane, everyday job? And like, how did you bring Christ into it?
I mean, I'm sure I struggled. I was 16. I think my way of remembering God in the movie theater job was at the time, because I was 16, like it was just kind of not partaking in the kind of talk and things that a lot of people were talking about that just wasn't my values or Christ-like things to be engaging in. But I probably complained more than I needed to and all of those things. What about you, Kirk?
So
You're a barista.
I was a barista for several years, and I wasn't really that conscious about bringing God into work, but I just tried to be a good Christian person, interacting with all those customers. And I remember, I don't know if it was at work, but had some people who were like, they just knew my
Morals? Your moral compass?
Yeah, something like that. They just, anyways, someone slipped out some swear words and they're like, oh, sorry, Christine. And I had never said anything, but just by my refraining and just just kind of being an example in that way,
Your
it rubbed
vibes,
off on them.
as the kids say today,
made
your
them
vibes.
aware. And so that's kind of what I think of, not by, any great effort of my own, but
But I think that's important though. Like people notice, right?
Yeah.
Like just being at peace and being good. Sometimes that's what you need. I was at a summer camp, a jazz camp once, and
Figures.
the head of the camp came up and like was telling all the guys in my dorm, like, hey, you all have been using some swear words. We're getting complaints from people when you all are walking around. And one guy goes, oh, that was totally Nazo, right? And that was the joke, and everyone laughed. And at first I was like confused. I didn't get it. I'm like, I don't swear. And
it wasn't me.
I get it, but people do notice.
People pick up on it.
Yeah.
People pick up on it. And when the world kind of crumbles, like you go to those more stable people. That's how you find like Christians, is you look to the people who are stable through things and that follow the great doxology. The blessed are the
Beatitudes.
The Beatitudes. Wait, I was like, I'm mixing them up. You go to the Beatitudes, and those are the people that's how you can find Christians. In The Chosen, he called it like a map to me, is finding the people who, the blessed are the poor, the meek, the pure in heart, all those. I was just going to say, everyone was like you were kind of saying earlier, if I was like faced with a demon head on, I would know to be like, Lord of mercy, get out of here, But we don't think of it that way. Everyone thinks, if I was Frodo in Lord of the Rings, I could take the ring and take it to Mount Doom and fight this battle, And we think, yeah, but I'm just here in my messy living room, changing a diaper. But we're all Frodo in our own stories.
That's kind of the point of those stories is like, how can we
we're
relate
all
to them and
trying
use them in our
to
lives?
Yeah, we're all
Well-
trying to fight for the light, even if it's changing diapers and fighting for what is right in our own lives and the people around us. When we go to the grocery store, there's spiritual battlefield everywhere.
Well, what I love about Frodo is, spoiler alert, plug your ears if you haven't finished the book or watched the movie. Like, he was this close to being lost. When he's like, the ring is mine. Like, no, it's mine. I was like, dang. But like, also kind of like, I get it. Like, I understand, like, being through so much and like, just, having so many scars from all these battles we've been through spiritually and emotionally and just being a human. We're so close to being lost, but I don't know where I'm going with this, but like God provides a way out.
And God uses we are each other's Sam, helping each other.
Or even like your guardian angel. Have you heard that story about like the onion?
Dostoevsky.
Yeah. Someone was in hell and they had given a beggar one onion begrudgingly, but their guardian angel was using that onion to pull them out of hell, that one good deed. And then someone else was trying to grab the onion, I think, and then they were like, no, that's my onion. And then as soon as they said that, they fell back into hell. So I'm always like, my onion, like God gives us like, we just need a little bit to not
fall into the
like damn ourselves.
Well, I think maybe without saying like, we damn ourselves, but I think it is important to say that there are real consequences for sin. Our priest says you shouldn't be afraid of death. You need to be afraid of sin, right? Death is going to happen. And we know what's going to happen after that because we believe in Christ. Sin is what's going to separate you from Christ. And I have to comment on Lord of the Rings. As a Tolkien fan, first off, I very much appreciate that you all got the names right, and all that stuff.
We're huge fans.
Cool.
We don't know.
So, but in the book, I guess, spoiler alert too, the way it ends is the hobbits go back to the Shire, right? And there they find, so I think it was goblins or orcs or something.
It's not over when they go back to the Shire.
Yeah, they have to defend, basically kick them out on their own without any of the other warriors that they've traveled with. And
they're like, come on, we just saved the world.
Right.
It's like the final test.
Right.
Kind of thing,
but I think just like, that encounter with Gollum where, he almost loses himself in the mountain, right? But like if you persevere, you become a warrior. It's like there are, again, real consequences for persevering too.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how they call, like the saints call us the militant because we're still part of fighting the good fight on this earth side of things. And I feel like that makes it sound so much more like noble, like we are the militant. So it's like, go fight the good fight.
Struggling, we're fighting.
I think that's like what it all boils down to, is fighting the good fight in whatever occupation, job, work you have in front of you. And is there anything you'd like to kind of wrap it up on that note?
I mean,
put you on the spot there.
I don't know. I think
you love the Silmarillion too.
No, Silmarillion. She does this all the time. Well, I mean, I guess if there's anything I can encourage anyone to do is to sing a little bit. Sing. There's a saying again, if one is happy among you, sing the Psalms. And there are many very. I mean, again, the Psalms are they're astoundingly beautiful. And I think you get it with maturity. I didn't get it as a kid. I'm just like, he's just being upset. But then you read certain verses and you're like, he's saying something kind of bad. But he's being honest to God about it, right? So just find something to and sing it. Let it be a church hymn that you like, or seek something out. And throughout the day, I sing the Jesus prayer when most of the time when I remember.
So you're saying literally sing.
I like that. I was laughing when you said that because I was picturing like a waitress, like, even though I walk through the valley of the shadows, they're like putting the plates down,
So I was composing a hymn. I was working on the, I think it was a Troparion for Dormition, which starts with the words, in giving birth, you remained a virgin, right? And and I was at Kroger and I'm singing that out loud because I'm working out the formula. And it took me a minute to realize that like people are staring at me. And one woman goes like, "Are you a songwriter?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "You need some help, son." But having said that, I think singing does something for your soul too. You know, it'll elevate it in ways that, again, just kind of like slowing down with your body.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want. That was a beautiful note to end on, but I just thought of, you know, when you're like walking down a dark hallway and you get spooked behind you. I always go, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, like start running. But like that psalm always comes to mind, and it's literally like a prayer. But it's just funny, like picturing myself being spooked and like singing that song.
No, but there's a reality to that too, though. So my mom tells me that there's a psalm. I know, sorry, you told me to wrap it up, but I'm still going.
We could go on for hours.
There's a psalm that she's Arabic, right? She's Lebanese, and she's saying if you see a snake on the road, you say the psalm, and when you get to the part where it says, "And you shall trample the snake underfoot," the snake freezes, and then everyone walks around it,
cool.
and then it's it's fine. Like there's not superstition. Again, there's no consequence, right? If we have faith. And if we believe and if we sing and live with our hearts, I think God hears us and gives us the things that we need to overcome.
I love that. Beautiful.
Okay, so around here at Mugs and Mercy, we do just a couple last things. So we
do a lightning round this time.
Yeah, lightning round, because this is a long episode. Thanks for sticking with us, everyone. So we have goals that we are going to just share a quick update on because we're in the middle of them. And then we do an appreciation. So just like 1 or 2 sentences of someone or something you appreciate. And it helps us practice gratitude. Yay. Okay. So my goal is I'm doing the Whole30 diet this month. And I am doing a good job.
Good.
Yay.
My goal is like unpacking and keeping our house cleaner. Difficult. It's been difficult because every time I try to do anything, I'm sure parents can relate, everything gets undone.
Yes.
And I end up freezing up and just not wanting to do anything. But I'm working on it.
Yay.
My goal has been to pick things up off the floor. Okay, like specific.
It gets slowly more basic as we.
Well, I'm not like Emily's like, I'm gonna keep my whole house clean. I'm like, okay,
I know,
because I saw this cup that was stuck under the cabinets in the kitchen, and I was like, I need to just pick it up instead of going like noticing it every time. And I hope I'm not the only one who's like that.
Oh, no, you're not.
No, we understand.
So I'm like, okay, anytime I see something on the floor in the kitchen, I'm going to pick it up. And then I spread it out to the dining room too. So I've been doing well, except I have been like, why did I like, there's like all these things end up under the kitchen table. Like, why?
Okay, and then appreciations. I appreciate our guest coming tonight. And then I appreciate his mom, Marlene, who is watching our children. They're in bed, and from what we can tell, they're still in bed. But so that Nazo could actually come join us.
Yay.
Thanks, Marlene.
I am also going to say I'm thankful for Nazo. It's been really exciting to have a guest, and you actually have like a name in the Orthodox Church, and you're like my cousin / brother-in-law, and we appreciate you, and you're a great addition to our family, and we love your mom and your sisters as well.
Yeah. Welcome to the family.
And he's a wealth of knowledge if you can't tell, as far as music and everything. Look him
this
up.
saint said this. And
I know. I could just like keep asking questions. It's really fun.
We need to have you on again.
Yeah.
And this is our little shtick for tonight. We have our music instruments just because Nazo's a musician and we thought it'd be fun. And so I'm also thankful for Nazo. I appreciate you, Nazo. And I enjoy discussing things with you and feel validated if you know what musician I'm talking about. But I like specifically, I think I told you this before, but your album, what's the name of the album? Luxari, yes.
I
should have said it with
a good way.
A collection of Orthodox hymns. Every time I have moved houses, I play that album and cry, and it makes me feel at home. Like it just brings this like sense of home and peace, and it's just really beautiful. So I really recommend everyone check it out. So thank you for writing that, Nazo, and
Thank
thank you for being my cool
you.
cousin-in-law that is willing to talk with us. And
Yay, thank you.
I'm glad I'm a part of your family. So
Yes.
thank you all very much.
yes,
Is that your
amen.
appreciation?
Oh, what, Nazo, what's your appreciation?
Whom do
Pressure.
you appreciate?
I appreciate
So,
the fact that Gary is not here.
yeah, I know. Me too.
Aren't we all?
I'm going to send that clip to Gary.
I'm thankful for this. This has been fun, and it's been fun listening to the podcast. And like I said, I'm very happy I'm part of your family. I wanted to be a Braun when I married Katie, but
That's my maiden name, Braun.
yeah,
But
and
now I'm a Zakkak.
yeah, she wanted to be a Zakkak.
There's a lot of Brahms are big names in the Orthodox Church as well.
But no, I'm glad I'm part of this family. So
Yeah.
thank God.
Yay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Nazo. Woo! Chaos ensues.
Thank you for joining us. This has been Mugs and Mercy. Cheers.